are gonna go through every ailment there is. You can't be worrying about that, because if we keep worrying about the trouble that the masses are in, we never cultivate anything among ourselves to get to the high level in which the masses gonna be a part of. Because ultimately, all this shit got to be destroyed. This shit is over.
I am inevitable.
Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push your button.
Push the goddamn button.
Push the goddamn button.
Yeah, push the button, y'all, because we live in full effect. Welcome to Night Day Network LLC. It's your host, J.R. Curry. Got my co-host here. Well, us co-hosts together. He's a co-host. Got Isaiah Curry.
What'd you say?
I said co-host here. Isaiah Curry.
Co-host.
Yeah, you know what I ain't mean co-host, but you know
What's going on? Soon as it's some BS. Soon as we open up the stream, huh? So what's
all right,
going on today? What's
come
going
on
on
in.
today?
Come on in, y'all. We gotta get to these topics.
What's
What's
happening, y'all?
We got Epstein. We got the DOJ investigating the Epstein files that was released. I guess people not satisfied with them files, man. People are not satisfied how they released those files. We know they redacted a lot of that stuff out of those files. So I wonder, is the DOJ putting the pressure on them releasing everything? Because they still really didn't release everything though. I don't know. Yeah, make sure y'all double tap the
Man,
screen.
the main reason is because why nobody going to jail behind a lot
Right.
of the shit that's in those files too.
Yeah,
Even the ones that already came out.
exactly.
It's like, why nothing is being done about it? Why everything being covered up with this war, this so-called Iran war, and gas for all these distractions,
Yeah,
taking the focus off what's really going on out here. And that's all
right.
these corrupt individuals in government, running with Epstein.
Facts.
Running with Epstein.
Epstein. Then you got all these different other countries that prime ministers and other countries that's involved. You got Prince Andrew over there in England. You got the French dude from the French authorities over there. You got mostly American politicians and the corporations. They need to be investigated, heavy investigated right now. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Like you said, maybe they ain't gonna investigate and arrest themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, so something has to be done. I don't know. They're gonna have to put the people gonna have to put the pressure on Congress. The people gonna have to actually start putting the pressure on them, because that's the only thing that's gonna be able to get these people really investigated. And
Yeah, that ain't happening, buddy.
you said it ain't happening.
Congress ain't doing that. Congress would have been did
Well,
that. I have a feeling a lot of them are being bribed and blackmailed too. So they
well,
ain't doing
everybody
that.
need to be removed.
That's up to the American people. They ain't up
Right,
to the government no more. Like we always say on these live streams, the government ain't gonna remove themselves if they corrupt. They
right,
just going to stay in power and doing corrupt things until the people do something about it. The people don't do nothing about it, and we just go further into slavery and have more corruption, more genocide, more
and more Epstein type
attacks. Yep,
characters.
more Epstein characters, more human trafficking, more of this, more of that, more drug trafficking. Yeah, all of that. Because all these politicians are guilty of allowing this stuff to go through, and a lot of high level government officials, other than people from the military and people from it's all types of it's corrupt, y'all. It's done. It's like we reached our we reached
Reach
our
the pin,
limits, and
the
the
peak.
amount of sin and corruption that we can do
Right, right,
at one bit of time, it's about to collapse. It's
right,
coming
right.
down.
Yeah, the empire's great. Springs out. Was you going to spring out of it though? It's a whole great reset going on. or what? The reset is the reset happening where everything collapses and you got to start all over again. I mean, as long as this planet exists, corruption ain't really never going anywhere anyway. But you know, there's always those point in times where when we reset everything, you know, be at a standstill and be at a chill until more. Actually, really, things don't never really stop though. I'm just thinking about it. Things don't really stop. It's just the same system, different faces, man. Different characters. Going on though. But when that empire collapsed though, that's where it's gonna be mayhem in the street. It's gonna be straight mayhem in the street. Let me pull this up real quick because we got a lot of things going on with surrounding Trump invading these countries. There's a lot of underhanded schemes and scams going on. We're about to get into. Let me pull this up here. All right, so we have a U.S. soldier arrested for placing a bet of 400,000 and winning $400,000 to $500,000, almost $500,000, basically betting on Trump going into Venezuela and Maduro, removing Maduro out of power and arresting them. So where was they able to really place bets on this? It's crazy. How was a soldier able to place a large bet like that? It's not like a lottery bet, like like you betting with the lottery. So where the hell did he was able to place a bet like that? That's crazy. We gotta figure this out. Let's go ahead and get into this real quick. Let's go ahead and get into this. All right.
ABC News has now learned that a U.S. Special Forces soldier is under arrest tonight. Authorities say that soldier was involved in the U.S. operation to capture Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro. He's now accused of pocketing nearly $500,000 for betting on Maduro's capture before President Trump announced the capture. Here's Aaron Katersky tonight.
Tonight, a U.S. Special Forces soldier involved in the daring military operation that captured Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela is under arrest for allegedly pocketing nearly $500,000 by betting on the top secret raid before it even happened. Gannon Ken Van Dyke was part of the U.S. Special Forces that moved under the cover of darkness to snatch the Venezuelan leader. Days earlier, federal prosecutors say Van Dyke began placing bets totaling more than $33,000 on Polymarket that Maduro would be removed from office by the end of January. Polymarket said that series of bets net Van Dyke more than $400,000. Back when President Trump announced the U.S. had captured Maduro, he praised the troops involved.
These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position.
But tonight, one of them is now charged with fraud and unlawful use of confidential government information for personal gain, marking the first time the Justice Department is prosecuting someone for exploiting inside knowledge to win big on a prediction market. Tonight, the president was asked if he's concerned government insiders are getting rich by betting on prediction markets.
It sounds like he was betting on his removal from office, that Maduro would be removed. It sounds like he was involved in the operation.
That's like Pete Rose betting on his own team. It's a little like Pete Rose. Pete Rose, they kept him out of the Hall of Fame.
See, they're up there laughing about it
you gotta
because
pause this real quick because I gotta explain to everybody what Polymarket is.
that's what I was just go ahead, bro.
You gotta explain what every Polymarket is so they can see how this guy made these bets that the Venezuelan president was basically going to get kidnapped, because that's what actually happened. So Polymarket is the world's largest centralized prediction market, allowing users to trade shares using cryptocurrencies, like stable coins like USDC and RLUSD.
Right.
When the outcomes of real events such as politics, economics, and sports. So basically, you're using cryptocurrency to make bets on the blockchain on certain events. It was founded in 2020. It functions as a peer-to-peer parent platform where share prices reflect the probability of events, often providing accurate real-time forecasting. The key aspects of Polymarket, how it works: users buy Users buy yes or no shares on future events. If correct, shares pay out $1. If wrong, they are worth 0. So you
Wow.
actually betting on real world events of how they're going to turn out, and they doing it
What?
with cryptocurrency
And that's legal?
on Polymark. Well, inside trading, because this guy was definitely on the team
Hey,
that helped kidnap the president from Venezuela for Trump and his administration, and for Israel, of course. But
that's
yeah,
inside trading,
that's
right?
literally, if he was on the team, that's literally inside trading, because he knew for sure, because he was on the team
It
that
was on the
actually
team,
went into Venezuela and
right?
got the president out of there.
That's why Trump was laughing at see like last like a basketball team,
Five
uh,
hundred
player betting on his
thousand.
own team, right?
500,000, a half million
Wow,
dollars
that is crazy,
by
bro.
betting on the
Yeah, that is
blockchain.
crazy,
And this
bro.
is what we telling y'all, the crypto shit is going to be the future. Like, you
Right,
can already do this stuff legally, of course you know, but if you get caught with inside trading, you going to jail, because if you got advanced knowledge on something that's supposed to be classified, because I mean, like, you're not supposed to let anybody know. That's sort of like letting people know that, yeah, we definitely going into Venezuela. Because if anybody knew this guy's background and the type and what he did, they would make the same bet that he made. Think about
right,
it. So they need
yeah,
to start investigating and see if anybody else made that same bet. Because
right,
if you know who that guy is, you know what his profession is, and he's on there betting, saying that, you know, the Trump administration is going to go into Venezuela and basically capture the president and his wife, and he's betting on it, and you know he does that for a living because he's in the military.
right,
You gonna bet where he bet?
right,
So I'm thinking, like, damn. So he's the only one that's going to jail behind this, huh? He the only one that made money off of that, huh?
right.
So that he's the
Well,
only one,
well, no, well,
right?
what he did was he basically gather up money from all the other people, but he put himself, out there to basically place the bet. But guaranteed that was money that was gathered up from different people. You see what I'm saying? Because he put 30,000 down, so that's him and probably a whole lot of other soldiers that put their money in that pot. You see what I'm saying? But he put his name on the line because they don't know where the money's coming from, whether it's other people putting their money
Yeah,
in that.
I know exactly what you're saying, because
Right.
that's the question that we asking. Who
Yeah.
else was involved? How he the
Yeah.
only one going down? You know
Yeah.
damn well
Well,
he
that
wasn't
money,
the
yeah,
only
that
one
money's
making
supposed to
that
probably
bet.
get split. Right. That money probably is supposed to get split, a lot of ways.
It probably still is going to get split, but he's just not going to be a part of it. He going to
Right.
be in jail.
Right. Make sure y'all double tapping the screen to like this video, please. Please double tap the screen, like this video if you haven't. As a matter of fact, let me put it in the chat. Please double
We
tap
doing too much
the
nowadays. The
screen.
fact that we using the blockchain to do those
Right.
type
Right.
of, yeah, this is crazy. Before we use it to actually benefit anybody, it's being used for stuff like this.
Yeah, you see that?
Yeah.
Straight up
That's why I said, as
inside
soon as
betting.
you let technology like this out, it gets in the wrong hands and they start doing shit like this.
Right. Wow.
And the thing is, it's not the technology itself, it's the people who's using it. It's the
Facts.
same thing with the gun ownership argument. It's not
Right.
the gun itself that's going out there doing these things, it's the individual.
Right.
Like, we gotta have some type of balance in our thinking when we attack these situations. When we talk,
Yeah.
when a lot of people bring these situations up, I don't hear many people having balance with this. Because it
Right.
ain't nothing wrong with none of this technology in itself. It's just how it's being used and who's using it and what purpose they using it. It's the intent behind it.
Right.
Because if the intent was really good and really uplifting society and community and all that stuff with this technology, that will happen fast in a world like this, because the technology help with that stuff if used properly. It have to be used properly.
Yeah, it's actually supposed to
And
be
that's
there
just
to
something that it
actually
seems like we can't do.
yeah, because AI, artificial intelligence and all this actually supposed to be like a basically like, support us in a way where it's beneficial to, uplift humanity, not to be used as evil and wickedness to basically destroy
They're not
people.
going
Is
to do that though.
Yeah, it's mostly actually assist humanity, not but yes, of course, any
Yep.
new technology in the wrong hands is going to cause some type of destruction. Like the person
Yep.
that created the what's that called heart that was supposed to be used to bring famine areas vegetation water so they can grow vegetation, and now they started using it for weather modification to basically use it to to basically cause famine in different areas and things like that. Like, yeah, so it's like they using the technology, you know, to basically enslave humanity. Like artificial intelligence is supposed to be used to basically free us up of certain things, but they're using artificial intelligence to basically enslave humanity in the wrong hands. Like you said, in the wrong hands, it's dangerous in the wrong hands. But yeah, let me finish playing this out though. This guy, they sitting up there laughing and shit about this guy uh basically stealing.
Because he bet on his own team. Now, if he bet against his team, that would be no good, but he bet on his own team. I'll look into it.
The president was also asked tonight
Right.
about
He sound
betting
like
in
he's all right.
connection with the war in
Trump sound
Iran,
like
David, and whether he has
he all right with
concerns
it.
about insider trading there.
He
The
probably gonna
president saying
pardon
the
the
whole
guy.
world has become something of a casino. He says he's not happy about it, but it's a crazy world. David?
Our chief investigative coordinator.
Hey,
Hold on
casino,
real quick. Pause that. He love casinos.
yeah, casino. He has
Trump love
casinos.
casinos.
Yeah,
He
he owns
that's like his
casinos.
dream to turn the world into a casino that he run.
Yeah, he owns
Like just think
casinos.
about it. Just think about it. This man now he got the connections and the power to make his dreams come true. You know, he loved the casinos and all. He would love that type of control.
All right.
You gotta think about it. And he's killing it with the Trump coin and crypto and all that type of stuff. And he does the same thing with the inside trading because he
All
knew
right.
exactly how the stuff he says how it affect the crypto market. And that's how he was able to make $3 or $4 billion off the crypto market, him and his family together.
Yeah.
Because he know as president, he can manipulate the crypto market just by based on what he's saying. Same thing that Elon Musk did a couple years ago with Dogecoin.
Yeah, with the dope
They
facts.
hype it up and
Yeah.
then it crashes and then they make all the money. They pull their money out before it crashes.
The
That's the
rug
tell
pull.
you the truth.
Right.
That's the only reason why it crashed because they pulled all their money out the top. Once
Yeah.
people at the bottom put all their money into it, and once it built up to a certain number, then the person at the top, Trump coin, hence Trump coin. His name is Trump. It's his coin. It's his official coin. He pulled all the money out. And then everybody else under him gets screwed, and he makes hundreds of millions of dollars, possibly billions.
I wonder is that a way for them to yeah and
He's
launder
doing the
money
same.
and
That
shit
Trump
too.
can't even hate on this dude. He have to
Right.
just say it's brilliant because it's the same shit he would do, and
Right.
basically the
Or the
shit
same things
he
he do
already
do.
done.
Right.
Like y'all gotta
That he
understand
continues to do.
the level of corruption we dealing with here. They could easily, take one person and say he's the bad guy. He did it all. But
Right.
it's a whole of them that's doing the same thing that this man is doing on a larger scale.
Facts.
But he's going to jail. Do you see how this works? You see how it's like the people in charge, they like narcissists. They have to be. Everything they do, they gotta say you do it.
Right.
And that's their
Right.
whole psychology. Like
Facts.
they say that you do this, you did that, but really, they're the masters of it. They do it in large proportions. This guy 500, he only made 500. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of money off a scam like that. But 500K, Trump made billions off his scam with cryptocurrency. So you
Right.
see what we saying? Like it's like all hypocritical. Like these people are hypocrites. They narcissists, they hypocrites, they gaslight us all the time, telling us that the
Right.
economy is getting better and that prices are going down. They literally get up there and say some shit like that at a time like this when real day-to-day real citizens know that's the complete opposite. Knowing
Right.
that is 100% a lie.
Facts.
It is because we see the effect every day when we go to the gas pumps or when we go to the grocery stores. Like, we're living in reality. This guy is making billions and billions of dollars off different schemes that he's running because he got the power to be president, and he's running
Right.
different schemes, and he's trying to tell us that the economy is getting good. Yeah, it's getting good for you. The economy
And your
is
family,
great for
right?
you
For
right
him and his
now.
family,
But yeah,
right?
it's great. That's what I mean. He is his family. The economy is going great for him. You know what I'm saying? But the average day-to-day person is the complete opposite. While this
Right.
man is living in utopia, we living in a dystopia.
Check peep this though. All right, so let me read this off. So in 2020, I just looked this up. So in April 2026, prediction markets, Kaushi suspended 3 congressional candidates: Minnesota State Senate Matt Klein, Republican Ezekiel Rodriguez, and Independent Mark Moran. That's Moran, but it's Moran, for betting on their own election, calling it a political inside trading. They were fined, with one candidate admitting to the act of challenging of a challenge performs uh, platform rules. He says the follows the pattern of scrutiny, including 2020 scandal, where several U.S. senators were investigated for stock trades made before COVID-19 pandemic impacts. So candidates involved, well, it's the Matt Klein, Democrat; Ezekiel Enriquez is a Republican from Texas; and then Mark Moran is an independent from Virginia. So that's what we've been telling y'all, that these politicians go in worth a certain amount, that when they come out, when they done, they worth like $80 million, because they're all do they I can't say all of them, but some of them do inside trading, and now that's what we're proving here. And some of them do get caught. So it says action taken with Kaushi suspended them for 5 years and issued fines for trading on their own elections outcomes, with one candidate, Moran, admitting to betting $100. Significance: the crackdown highlights the concerns over let me see using non-public information and profit in emerging prediction markets. He said with one candidate, Mark Moran, claimed that he wanted to raise awareness about the potential market manipulation. So you mean you placed a bet on your own run just to try to prove a point? That Where the fuck do that make sense at? That don't even make sense. Like, that don't even make sense. So 2020 COVID-19 stock scandal. So Senator Richard Burr, North Carolina; Kelly Loeffert, uh, I guess that's Georgia; David Perdue, Georgia; and James uh, Inhofe, I guess that's Oklahoma, investigated by the Department of Justice (SCE) regarding stock sales before the pandemic crash. All were eventually cleared and had investigations closed without charges. So they get to get off on shit too. They get to violate with these inside tradings, and they they either pay a fine and get off, or the investigation gets closed. It's crazy. So, Business Insider investigation conflicted Congress reported in 2021 and 2023 that 78 members of Congress failed to properly disclose their financial trades, often citing errors in ignorance of the law. So, 78 Congress members failed to disclose their financial trades. You know what they was doing, bro. Like you said, a large portion of them be inside trading.
They living luxurious, y'all.
Right.
Mansions, vacation homes in every country,
Private schools for their
islands,
children.
private islands. They got yachts, they got helicopters, they got fleets of private jets. This is how Congress and them living. These are the people that make decisions for the day-to-day American, the day-to-day citizen who's barely scraping by. And the thing is, you could be making $300,000 or $400,000 a year and still be scraping by in this type of economy.
They only got fined
We know.
$200, bro.
You could be making 500K
That's
a
it.
year and still scraping by. Like, and it ain't because of poor management. It's just that when you got more to lose when the economy takes a dip like this because people stealing. See, this is what it is. The corruption is so bad right now. All the honest people getting wiped out right away. The only people that's making all the money now is the scam artists. Like the people, like all the people at the top. The only reason why they got that amount of money is because they doing some type of scheming, some type of underworld type of shit, or so like inside trading.
And they only got fined $200 for not
doing human
disclosing,
trafficking or
for
drug
not even
trafficking,
disclosing their
something like that.
Right.
That's literally was, and that's how they want it to be, because even the IRS started allowing people to claim money that they got from illegal activities. They allowing you to put that. Y'all can go look this up right now, because they know the only people who's making it in this type of economy very comfortably are people who are scamming, either large scale scams or smaller. And if you're doing smaller scale scams, you're gonna get arrested, because they arrest people who ain't got the license to do these scams. These government officials basically got a license to steal.
Yeah, they got
license to kill.
yeah.
They
That's
got
why
license to
put
steal
in
and a license
position.
to kill.
Yeah, that's why they be anxious to get in position, because they know that they get cleared on inside trading, and the only thing, the most penalties they get is paying a $200 fine or something like that. That's it. They only pay a small fine for not disclosing their financial their financial trades. $200, a $200 fine. That's it. That's crazy. That is
How many of us are able to see through the illusion of society and how things are engineered?
right.
How many of us are actually able to see the big picture and not just see the bullshit information that they spoon feed us? Like, how many of us actually able to see, especially people from the millennial generation? Everybody from the millennial generation was told, if you do everything right, you all right. If you go to college, you get your degree, you find a good job, move up, and whatever job you in, become the boss and be able to. All that was bullshit, because everybody's in debt. Even the people who did go to college for all these years, most of them are in debt from student
Exactly.
loans. People who didn't get the scholarships or came from a wealthy family to actually just go to college. A lot of people had to go the student loan route. And we ain't
Right.
knocking nobody for going that route, but that was a basically a bubble that they created, because
Right.
basically going to college became a monopoly for these universities. It became a monopoly, and as soon as something becomes a monopoly, as soon as it becomes as marketable to make a lot of money, it gets corrupt. I mean, that's just how it is on this planet. Like, college became, like, these universities and stuff basically became about making that money, getting that
Yeah.
government money. So
Right.
they make sure everything was expensive to create this financial bubble to where a lot of millennials are in debt. See, the generation before us, before the millennials, they were able to just work one job and be able to pay for everything in the household. Now most people have to like work two jobs, or everything in the household have to work in order to survive. Back then, with our grandparents, they was able to just have one factory job and they'd be able to buy a house, a car, keep groceries in the house and be able to go on vacations. By the
Yeah.
time it got to us, the millennials, people born in the 80s up until, the 2000s, like, we all basically got screwed. Like now everything, by the time we grew up, everything became a monopoly, and everything is basically a scam now. Because once they create the monopoly out of
Pyramid scheme.
society, yeah, once they do that, they that's when they bring all the scams in. That's when they bring all the scams in, and you're basically come into adulthood in debt. That was like their big plan right there, and they pulled it off. Basically, before you even become an adult, you already in debt.
Right.
Student
Right.
loan debts and card debts and all
Long.
this type of shit. Like,
Yeah,
you
but
already
and they
in
don't have to
debt.
deal with that. And the thing about it, those who able to, you know, um, financially, cheat the system, don't have to deal with debt and none of that. They cheat the system by like you said, inside trading and
Right.
pyramid schemes. They
Facts.
basically cheat the system. So it's like how they expect the citizens to be, just to a system that's not just to its citizens. Like they want us to follow the rules, but they get to break all the rules. That's crazy to me. They get to break all the rules, but they expect us to, fall in line, and be, good, good, good citizens. Be good taxpayer citizens. Basically, be a good slave. While, like you said, while they get to live luxurious, going, living on private islands and mansions and private school for their children, eating the best foods.
Facts.
Meanwhile, we get served corporation slop, chemical based products that they sell to us while they get to, live great, live good, basically live off
Facts.
the land. Meanwhile, they got us being obedient slaves to accept slop, bad, poor mass production of products.
And how they do it, they
Keep us sick.
unjustly get us in debt. Like
Right.
it's an injustice the way we are, and they try to put programming in our head and say there's good debt and bad debt. Like they try to and tell you gotta do things like leverage your debt. Like that's wicked as hell. Like that's not that type of market is not. That's a fucking criminalized market. Like it don't make no sense to live like that. Why we
It's not a
create
free
things in
market either.
society where people are in debt before they even become adults? Like that's a scam. Like
Right.
that's a open scam right there. I don't understand how we sitting here and accepting this. And then we got all these motherfuckers out here trying to make money and trying to teach courses on how to leverage debt and all that. Like, yo, you teaching the system. Yeah, it'll make scam artists rich. It'll make people who's dishonest rich because the banks make trillions of dollars off of these scams.
Exactly.
It's called fractional reserve banking.
Right.
We going in debt and they using debt to basically loan money out. Like the more we go in debt, they loan our debt out like they actually got that money. So they telling you debt is good. You just gotta know how to leverage it. Like that's a bullshit market right there. And those
Yeah,
of
it's not
us who've
like
been paying
right.
attention and we got some type of integrity left in our body, we know how much of a scam that is.
It's
And
not a
people who
free
got some
market.
type of goddamn common sense and we able to think outside of what the system is feeding us. Because all they feeding us is slavery and how to be obedient. That's all
That's it.
that's all basically be a good little slave, pay your taxes, eat your slop. When you get sick, make sure you go to the doctor so they can basically give you chemicals for eating that slop. Because you're gonna be sick off and you're gonna be sick off the shit that got you sick, the food. Because that's basically what they getting us. They getting us with that. That's a scam in itself. We're paying more money for food with less quality than back in the day. You was paying less money for food with better quality.
Right.
Like you see how effed up things are. We paying more money for food that's bad quality, y'all. Just 90s, you can go into the supermarket with $100 and leave with a shopping cart filled to the brim with food
Yeah.
that wasn't as bad as the food that we getting now. Y'all get what we saying? Like it's a scam. Like this, our whole social construct around us is a scam. Like
To
we was
basically
all
take from the
born
people.
into it. We were born into it, and the only winners are the people who the politicians and the so-called important people of the world that we supposed to look up to and bow down to. They the only ones out here really living.
Right.
Everybody else is walking on eggshells, barely scraping by, barely making it. If you are making it, because you gotta do a little scamming to make it, you constantly looking over your shoulder from the people who's after you are the people who's doing it at a large scale. You gotta understand they go after the smaller people who do these scams, but they do the biggest scams, like global scams,
Right.
like COVID-19, and like those types of scams.
Fact.
They knew the same people who, made people wear masks were the same people who owned the mask companies before it was even procedure to go outside with a mask on. Let's put that into perspective.
Right.
Think about that. We had to buy all people were during the COVID shit. We was buying all these masks, all these gloves, and don't you think what's crazy? The people told us who mandated all that shit was the people who own those companies secretly. Either them, or you do a little bit more researching, it'd be their family or their friends that own
Fact.
all the companies that sell all the gloves, all the masks, all the shit that you was using to protect yourself from COVID-19. Somebody made trillions of dollars off of that.
Facts.
Trillion Fauci, Bill Gates,
Yeah,
Nancy
yeah.
Pelosi,
Nancy
Nancy
Pelosi.
Pelosi.
Nancy
Like we could,
Pelosi. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi, definitely. All right. All right, we gotta get into a quick commercial break, y'all. Like we said, this video is sponsored by 90dayherbals.com. We got 30% sale going off on our website right now. We sell natural CBD products, natural hair care and skincare products. We have organic sea moss on there as well. So let's get into this quick commercial.
If you crave nature but still shop online, Night and Day Herbals is your dream come true. Discover premium herbal soaps, shampoos, and CBD products. All organic, all for you. Shop now at nightandayherbals.com.
All right, we have the link to the our shop is in the description, also pinned to the chat, and you can hit the QR code at the top right if you have another device or you're watching from a TV or something. You can use the QR code and it'll take you directly to our website, or you can also Google us Night and Day Network LLC on your Google browser. You'll see us
5
pop
stars,
up.
baby. We 5 stars on there.
Yep. So go on, you can type us in the Google browser, Night and Day Network LLC, and you will see us
You'll
pop
see all
up.
our social medias also. You'll see our website, which is nightandayherbals.com, or you just click on website and you'll see all of our social medias, our Instagrams, our Facebook, our threads, all that shit will pop up.
All that. Yep. 30% off sale we got going on. And it comes off automatically when you check out. All right. So that's 90dayherbals.com. All right, so we gotta get into this Epstein, the DOJ, basically doing a little investigation on the Epstein files being released. So we gotta get into it. So this is MS Now that put a some breaking news out on the watchdog reviews the DOJ's compliance with Epstein file law. Because they had the Transparency Act with the Epstein, so they're supposed to release everything. Unredacted, everything's supposed to be released. That was the whole point of them voting on the Transparency Act. And they redacted a lot of the files that they released. They supposed to release the whole files, everything. Every complete file is supposed to be released to the public. Every last file. And they basically didn't follow the law. They didn't follow the Transparency Act. They still withholding files now and everything. So let's go ahead and get into this. Is MS Now reporting on the DOJ. All right, so let's get into this real quick.
Breaking news, the DOJ's watchdog
Let me know if y'all can hear it. Let me know we good on the audio.
will be reviewing
good
the
on my
department's
end, bro.
compliance with a law mandating the release of the Epstein files. MS Now's Lisa Rubin is following this for us. What does this mean, Lisa?
Well, it means that somebody at the Department of Justice, and specifically the independent office of the Inspector General, is taking seriously some of the claims that the department has not fully complied with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. You know from my reporting and others that survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell have been complaining for months about redactions that should have been made and weren't, redactions that were made and shouldn't have been, as well as 3 million pages of documents that the acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche, has told us his team collected and reviewed and then decided was not responsive to the act or should have been withheld for other reasons, including the fact that they reflect deliberative process privilege or attorney-client privilege. That's something that the act itself doesn't recognize. So now we hear that the acting Inspector General is going to conduct a review of that process and look at not only how the files were collected, reviewed, and produced, but how they were redacted and withheld. And in addition, how did the department respond when post-production concerns were raised to them by survivors and their lawyers? Chris?
So you have all these victims of Epstein. You have all these victims. No one gets arrested. You have Ghislaine doing 25 22 years in prison. And now you got her asking to be got her asking to be you know, a dismissal, because it's like, all right, she's in there for the crime, but there's literally people in the Epstein files, the ones that we know that got released, that haven't been investigated. Now you have all these victims that's saying, I've been victimized by Epstein and others that was involved with Epstein, and nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. So that's why the DOJ is really putting pressure on it, because you have these victims out here that has no, with criminals that's not being investigated. So what you gonna do with these people that's been victimized by Epstein and his cronies? You have all these survivors of Epstein out here, and nobody's being investigated. It's insane. Let's continue.
Okay, this is pretty big news in the context of what a lot of folks have been waiting for.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Lisa Rubin.
All right. Yeah, bro. This Epstein shit is just not being handled correctly. It's not being handled correctly at all. And you have all these victims out here, that's telling their story. And the thing is, are they even being protected? Like, they need to start mentioning names. Like, they need to start calling these people out by name. Like, they didn't had all these press conferences with these Epstein victims. They didn't had, them testifying and all that. And then you have Congress really never gave them a voice to come up there and actually testify either. They doing all these depositions with Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and Lex Wexner and all these different people, but they ain't even give the victims the opportunity to come up there and testify. So it's like the victims are actually being silenced. Like, are they even being told to, like, listen, this name can't be mentioned in the public. These set of names can't be mentioned in the public. A lot of these people are head of corporations right now that's operating still, but they facing no type of investigation or anything. And the ones overseas, like Prince Andrew and the other French authority guy, they only being arrested for giving Epstein like some inside information. They're not even being arrested for crimes against sleeping with underage children, and none of that. Like, they're not even being arrested on that. They being arrested for just giving Epstein some inside information. That don't make no sense.
That makes a lot of sense when you see how corrupt everything is at the top, and they all was involved in those Epstein, activities. They all were involved.
Right.
See, it's just a game to them.
It is.
It's just a game to them. It's literally because it's like they own everything in the world. They run all. They got all the big scams going. And the people that's supposed to be arresting them for it is in on it themselves. So it's like the world is their oyster at this moment.
Right.
It's like the movie with Cuba Gooding Jr., Rat Race, when all them wealthy people was basically, bidding on how they gonna finish the race. The poor people finish the race.
Right.
That's basically, or Squid Games or something like that. They don't really care about the population. That's why I don't know why people be on. Why you ain't voting? Why you ain't do this? And it's like,
because it's criminal.
They don't really care about any of us. Rather, I don't care what political party they are. That don't mean nothing. Like, just look around. These politicians, these people, they don't care about you. They don't care about your kids. They don't care about your family.
They sure don't.
They don't give a shit about you. They all about maintaining power and control. They'll wipe out your whole generation if it threatened their control. They don't care about any of y'all. They don't care about us. Isn't that what Michael Jackson said?
Yeah, they don't really
They
care
don't really
about us.
care about us.
But George Carlin's ain't. It's a club. You ain't in it.
Either or, whoever you want to roll with. Michael
Right.
Jackson, they don't care about us, or George Carlin. It's a club and you ain't in
You
it.
ain't in it.
Whatever perspective, it's still all roads lead to Rome.
Right.
Like, let's just put it like that. Let's put it in that perspective. All
And it's
roads lead to Rome.
and they're fine, and it's crazy because they finding dead bodies on Epstein property, like like so if they found just 2 bodies on near the ranch, then it's a lot more shit going on. A lot more bodies are buried. Like they said, he ordered what like 30 what was it, like 30 barrels of a toxic waste. I mean toxic what was it? What was that he ordered? Like it was like 30, I think 30 gallons or something like that of sulfuric acid. And we know what they use that for. You can get rid of you can put a whole body in that and it disintegrate inside that acid. Yep. So what was he trying to cover up at the island? Because he damn sure ordered it at the island right before they raided, before they came and got him.
Basically, he was saying you gotta get rid of the bodies.
Bodies, and probably throw away some hard drives in there and stuff like that. It's crazy. Oh yeah, let me pull this up. Yeah, this is Ghislaine. This is their response to Ghislaine asking to be pardoned, because she's sitting in there like, damn, I'm Epstein supposedly dead. I'm sitting in here. The Epstein file's been released. All types of criminal emails in the Epstein's files, and nobody going to jail. Nobody going to jail.
Ghislaine Maxwell is a monster. She facilitated, aided, and abetted Epstein's crimes, engaged in those crimes. She was the enforcer who threatened the victims and the survivors of those crimes. And President Trump could end that today. He could rule out clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell, the monster.
Nah,
he could rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell, the monster. The question for all of us today is, why hasn't he done that, and why won't he do that? Ghislaine Maxwell is...
But Ghislaine don't deserve to get out. She aided and abetted Epstein. She recruited a lot of them women through them beauty pageants and all that. So she don't need to get out. She was actually helping with the trafficking and all that. She was recruiting.
Bro, she managed Epstein. Like she
Right, yeah,
managed,
she managed
his whole
Epstein, right.
operation.
Right.
If
'Cause her
anything
dad
knew
was,
about if anyone knew about his whole operation and the client list, she would be the one.
right. Yeah, if they want to, yeah, exactly. If they really want to investigate, she the one that actually know, you know. But it's like, all right, should she actually, tell on them folks for, to get out of jail, or she, because she's not going to give up no names. And then in that whole meeting with the DOJ for Trump, she only gave up the names that Trump wanted to go target, or the information that Trump needed to go target other individuals so he can blackmail. Because that's all Ghislaine was doing, really, is setting people up to get blackmailed. And I believe
But
her
what
meeting with the DOJ was, just some bullshit.
who would she tell it to? They all involved. Like, who's she gonna go to? Think about it. Who
Right.
who would Ghislaine go to for that information? With that
Well,
information, if everybody she go to is involved in it and she knows that they're involved. That's what we have to get in our heads. A lot of people, high level military, high level, people in the police force, high level, like a lot of them already know this information.
Right.
Because they're involved in it too. So even if she did snitch and say, who's she snitching to? She's snitching to the people that's involved in it.
Right.
because the people
have
that's
to do
supposed to be
something about
doing
it.
something about it are the ones that's involved in it, because that's
Right.
how it's all engineered. Like the task force and the that's supposed to be stopping the drugs from coming in, they the ones that's actually bringing it in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the people who's supposed to be stopping the human trafficking are the ones that's actually human trafficking. That's how they design basically this corrupt government. That's how our corrupt government is made
And
up.
they
All
decide
the
to go after
agencies
who
that's
they want to.
there,
Right.
all the agencies that's there that's supposed to be stopping certain things, they actually are encouraging it, and they actually only arrest people who is not a part of their gang. Because that's basically what it is. They create a gang within inside the government where they able to just do all this type of illegal activity, and they the ones that's supposed to be stopping the illegal activity. But they like, hey, we in control of it, so we could do the so-called illegal activity, and nobody's there to arrest us because we ain't gonna slap the cuffs on ourselves. That's basically how the
Right.
corruption spread throughout the government. Like that's literally how it does. It's like gangs within inside agencies.
Yeah.
Almost, and they
Fact.
showed us that in the movie with Forrest Whitaker and what's his name from that did the movies, Keanu Reeves. What was the king? What was it? Street Kings. It
Street
was
Kings.
called, the
Yeah.
movie was called Street
You talking
Kings.
about what? Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker and Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
Right.
And they showed how in that police force, like it was literally like people from different task force came together and they was doing
Training day.
illegal activities.
Training day.
Yeah, the training day. Yup. And that's how it is. That's how it be in all these government agencies.
And the
It be
thing is, right.
people from
And
the
they,
DOJ, it'd be people from the CIA,
yeah,
it'd be
different.
people from the State
Right.
Department, it'd be people from,
Yeah.
it'd be like a mixture of
Judges,
all, it'd be
lawyers,
judges and lawyers. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
create a criminal network where they able to just basically just rob and steal, and they got a license to do it because the people who's supposed to be doing something about it is in on it.
And then not. And then right. 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 Jeez. Yeah. So no telling what's gonna come about with the. Really, I don't think nothing gonna happen to no one because the thing about it is they throw to the wolves who they want to throw to the to the general public, like all the front people. They have people that take the fall, like the Epstein character supposedly take the falls. So they throw out there who they want to throw out there. Who they want to decide to be the fall guy, the face of it, to take the fall because it's like, all right, we know somebody got to go down for something. So who we gonna choose to basically it's like on training day when he went after the dude the dude with the money in the floor, and he used Hoyt as the fall guy. You know what I'm saying? He used Officer Hoyt as the fall guy. Officer Hoyt was part of the unit. He was all part of that, right? But it's always the person that don't want to, go along with it 100%. That don't want to go because there is people. You can't say everybody is corrupt because there is people that's just morally not going to go along with it. So that person will be, somehow set up because he don't want to go along with it, or he'd be a guy that just get taken out. You see what I'm saying? Like with
Basically, like the dude who was on the team that went into
yeah,
Venezuela and
yeah,
kidnapped the
right,
and
right,
he made a
right,
whole bunch of money off of it.
right,
Maybe it was his team that probably was in on it, but he probably the one that didn't really want to do it, so he
yeah,
went down for it.
right. He took the
Is what you
fall because
saying?
yeah, he collected all the money from all the soldiers that wanted to put in on the scam. But so he decided he was going. You know what? I'll go in there and I put my name on the line to place the bets. But he collected all the money from all the soldiers, right? He so happened became the fall guy. The guy they threw out there in front of to get caught. So that's another thing. It's always two sides to it. You
So
know?
that's the same thing with Epstein. Epstein, they just
Yeah,
threw him out there to get caught
yeah.
when there was a
Epstein was
lot of more
yeah,
other people involved besides just Epstein.
yeah,
Him and
yeah. And then
Ghislaine.
Yeah,
Only him and
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine get caught when
All
when
right,
there was a lot of them involved in
but
the
they make
Epstein activities.
it look like they're doing something by doing these weak ass depositions. Like, oh yeah, we got to question Bill Clinton because he was on the list. We got to question Lex Wexner because he was on the list. We got to
Right,
question Hillary Clinton because she was on the list. We got to
right,
grill. We got to go up there and grill Pam Blondie and Cash Patel. We got to put on the show to make it look like we're actually doing something about it. Well,
right.
technically, they ain't doing shit because nobody got arrested. When you start seeing people getting put in handcuffs behind this Epstein, besides Epstein and Ghislaine, then we could be talking about something. But no one else is going to jail behind it. So it's
That
really
means
no
our
point.
government is in on it and they don't care. Either they
They're
in
turning a
on it and
blind eye.
don't care, or both.
Yeah, turning a blind eye to it. And
That's
that's
why I'm
just
saying.
gonna
That's
keep
why
going
I'm
into
saying
stuff.
everybody in the government is damn near corrupt, because even if they not engaged in the illegal activity, they turning a blind eye to it. How the fuck you ain't know your unit or your partner was corrupt and you a cop? Your whole job is to investigate and shit like that. Like,
Yeah,
you gotta think about that.
right.
Like, you would know that they corrupt.
I mean, they saying Trump is on on in the Epstein file with 30,000 something times.
I'm gonna be
And this
honest with you,
and he
man.
has like he had like more close a relationship with Epstein. You know what I'm
At
saying?
this point,
So
we gotta blame the people, because we know that we got to stop being naive and thinking that the government is going to do something about the Epstein files when most of them are included in the Epstein files.
yeah,
So now we got to get past that part first. Then we got to get to the point where we realize ain't shit going to be done unless the people get mad enough to do something. Because the
all
government is
right.
not going to do anything about the Epstein stuff.
And the thing
Like,
is, why
once
was
we
it?
get that in our heads and we know and we accept that in our heart, I think we gotta accept it in our heart. We got I think we gotta accept it in our heart that the government is not gonna do nothing about
So
these Epstein criminals.
these
Like, just
victims,
accept it in your heart.
yeah.
And
So
then
these
what we
victims
gonna do as a
basically,
people that want to see justice for these victims, that want the operations to shut down. Now it's like, what are we gonna do now? Since we know the government, the people who's supposed to do something about this type of activity is not, because they're involved in it. Now, what's the next step? Are we mad enough? And I don't think we mad enough. So they gonna get away with it.
right?
They getting away with it. It's sad. It's really sad. Look, the way I see it, this shit is just completely, it's done with. It's over.
Right.
It's done with. It's up
So
to the
now,
people now.
so yeah, so you have all these victims that have been victimized by Epstein. Um, all these survivors. So what do you do with that? Like, so these basically they've been victimized and nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen. They basically, you know, they need to sue the shit out the government. To be honest, them victims need to sue the shit out the government. They need to find a way to sue the fucking government for that. Because, they've been victimized and nothing happened. If they claiming that there's more people that's involved besides Jeffrey Epstein and they got the names and those people are not being investigated, this new the dude that replaced this Ted guy that replaced Pam Blondie said they're no longer investigating. They no longer basically investigating anybody from the Epstein files. No one's gonna be investigated. So what they doing? They just closing it on this shit. So what the DOJ gonna do? Be honest, what the DOJ gonna do? What the DOJ gonna do that you know that's gonna make this case or make the victims be satisfied with people getting arrested or anything like that? What is that gonna do? What is that gonna do for the victims?
You mean not the DOJ? You mean the DOI, Department of Injustice?
All right.
They the DOI now.
Like, what is that gonna do for the victims? because you still have victims out here, and these victims it's not like they speaking out. They definitely speaking out. They definitely speaking out. But it's like, damn. All right, so the TMZ actually talked to one of the survivors. Epstein survivor dropped bombshell on what she saw. Let's get into this. Let's get into some with one of the victims witnessed themselves. Like they really got like these victims are actually, telling what they seen and what they witnessed to, and damn, they don't even have like, to even look into it to see what's, to investigate and question people and shit like that. Not just no investigation period. Just they ain't getting shit out of it, but just
by Jeffrey Epstein. Ghislaine is waiting for you upstairs in the bedroom and she wants to show you something. He immediately began brainwashing me. Had helicopters chase me, cars chasing me. Recently, I thought drones outside of my living room. I sincerely believe that this is what Jeffrey Epstein was truly doing here on this planet. He was bringing back hell on Earth.
Hey guys, it's Jackson with TMZ here. I just had an extremely informative and compelling interview with someone that was closely connected to Jeffrey Epstein for years. Now, with the DOJ recently releasing millions of files, a lot of redactions came with it, and naturally, it left the public asking a lot of questions. And what we've noticed over here is that there is a very high demand for people that want answers, not only from the government, not only from the DOJ and FBI and other various entities that are investigating people that were allegedly involved with Epstein, but from the people that were involved with Epstein themselves. I interview Rena O today. She's an Epstein survivor. She gives an extremely compelling testimony as to what life was like when she was involved with Epstein, how she got involved with him, the manipulation tactics that he used on a daily basis, and how he coerced her to do things she did not want to do. I want to put a trigger warning at the beginning of this video because what she does get into can be graphic for some viewers. Watch at your own discretion and let me know what you think in the comments because we read every single one. Let's get into it. So I'm joined today by Rena O, who is currently a visual artist based out of New York City, but she is also, unfortunately, a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein. Miss O, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So take us back. Obviously, you went through what is a very traumatic experience. Who were you before meeting Jeffrey Epstein, and how did you initially come into contact with him?
I met Jeffrey Epstein through my friend Lisa Phillips, who is also, very outspoken.
Yeah, she was one of the ones up there. Yeah, at the press conference, actually leading up there, speaking up there on at the press conference that they had, which I think was, kind of manipulated by mainstream media too, because these women said they was ready to, put some names out there. Like they said they had their own list going on. And we was like, well, being as though that this is being, funneled through mainstream media, they're not going to let y'all say those names on national TV. That's how we know it was controlled, because you really think mainstream media is going to actually let them call out some high, powerful names on a network? Just picture that for a minute. You have these victims that said they have their own list. So you really think they're going to the mainstream media is going to let these women actually say these high power names on national TV? It's not happening. But let's continue.
Jeffrey Epstein survivor. And when I initially met him, he offered philanthropy and he called himself an art patron. I was lured in with a scholarship to go to college. And if you paid attention to a lot of the recent news, Representative Jamie Raskin has launched an investigation into a lot of colleges and universities that were, involved with Jeffrey Epstein in some way, where the girls were being sent to these schools. And this This established a long-term commitment from the victims, you know, unknowingly, because we were being manipulated. We had no idea. And
All right, so she said a specific school. So is that a school where they went to where they was actually recruiting these women out of that specific school? That's what it sounds like to me. What y'all think?
I had no idea, but he established a long-term commitment from me and used that in order to facilitate the abuse. So by offering me a scholarship to get a bachelor's degree for an undergraduate degree, you know, that's 4 years of abuse. So he had established that in the beginning, but I had no idea walking into this. I thought, here's a great art patron. You know, he told me, I'm giving you a scholarship with no strings attached. You never have to see me again. And then he attached a lot of strings to that scholarship.
So you met him through a mutual friend and Lisa Phillips. You know, how was the meeting of Jeffrey Epstein conducted? Did you meet him in West Palm? Did you meet him in New York? Can you walk us through the moment where you first saw him?
Sure. So Lisa had met Jeffrey previously, and she met him on his island, Little St. James Island. And, you know, like she mentioned that there was this art patron I was looking to pursue.
Can't say it's more Democrats. Nah, it's Republicans and Democrats on that in the Epstein file. I think this Epstein stuff supersedes past Democrat and Republican. This is more so a global crime syndicate that went on. This is not just Democrat and Republican. This supersedes past that. We always stress on this channel that this is not a left and right matter. This is a you know, sex trafficking children and women against their will and stuff like that. It has really nothing to do with a political party. These are criminals we're talking about.
Right.
Has
Stop
nothing
trying
to
to
do.
make this political. Stop trying to
It's
make
not.
this Epstein shit just political.
Yeah, this Epstein shit is not is not meant to be politicized. It's not. That's what they're trying to make it out to be, so they can have the people fighting amongst each other and say, yeah, the left is to blame for or the right. No, Epstein was up at the White House 17 times when Bill Clinton was in there. He was friends with Donald Trump. He was friends with other politicians, left and right. So this is not a left and right thing. Nah, we can't get stuck in that where the
And plus, he
mainstream
was
media
dealing
is
with
trying.
other global leaders too.
Yeah, global, exactly.
He wasn't just dealing with people from the United States. So it's bigger than just a Republican or a Democrat. Because Prince Andrew ain't no Democrat or no Republican.
No, no. Yeah, so we can't let them trick us into blaming the left and right when they're all let Epstein operate for years. You got to think about how many administrations was in there while Epstein was doing what he was doing. He's been in there since the Reagan era.
You
You
gotta
know what I
remember
mean?
who he was working for. You
Well, he
remember
was
he was
working with
working
that
for the
Rothschild
Rothschilds and Rockefellers.
Rockefellers, right? He working for the Rock. He's recruited by David Rockefeller himself.
Right. And was a representative of the Rothschild family.
Yeah, and representative of the Rothschild family and part of the Trilateral Commission. So
Right.
that has nothing to do with Democrat and Republican.
That's bigger than Democrat and Republican.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta understand how this guy was operating. This guy was operating outside of that. He was there to basically blackmail and put pressure on politicians, left and right. Doesn't matter. World leaders.
Both sides are corrupt, y'all. It ain't no more lesser evil. They both. There's no lesser evil when it comes to these left and right. That stuff that's dead in the water now.
Right.
We shouldn't even be arguing about political party is better. They both suck. I mean, a lot of people knew that because a lot of people didn't vote at all. Like you seen a lot of people say ain't nobody to vote for when it was
Right.
Kamala versus Trump.
Yeah.
People were like people that usually vote every year was like, I ain't voting this year because it ain't nobody to vote for.
Vote for it, right.
Because shit wouldn't have been better if Kamala was in there, just letting y'all know. It don't matter who was in that Oval Office around this time. It would have been exactly like this.
Exactly. I
because
agree.
there's people outside of the United States that's controlling our government, and they use people like Epstein to do it. Majority of our government is either being bribed or blackmailed or both. And sorry to say, it's majority, y'all. It's majority now. They all that surveillance and shit that they used it on the politicians and on the people they wanted to control. All the surveillance that they had, phones, cameras, Siris, Alexas, yeah, everything, all the technology that we use got back doors into it, and they can just basically whoever they really want to spy on and get information about,
Yeah,
they able to do that.
and it's
And they
mostly
definitely use that to blackmail. That's only one part of they blackmail. The other part
right.
is the Epstein shit, inviting people to parties and got them
Yeah,
doing illegal things, messing around with kids at the party, doing snuff films, all types of shit
right.
crazy shit that they do. And to brag about it in shows like Squid Games and movies like The Hunger Games and shit like that.
And the thing about it is, they watch people of some type of influence. Like if you're a person, if like a lot of these people have, you know, large followings. A lot of the people have large, amount of influence in the society. So those people are being surveilled 24/7 around the clock. Can you imagine? A lot of these celebrities and a lot of these politicians that have large amount of following, like for Trump, for instance, he's being told what to do because they've been watching him for years. You know how much dirt they got on Trump? That's why he's playing ball because they didn't caught him in a lot of compromising positions. He's been operating for years. Trump's been doing what he's been doing for years, and they know that. They only put people in there that they can that they got dirt on that they can control. They're not gonna put no squeaky clean guy in the White House. What can they do with a squeaky clean guy? Nothing. There's nothing they could do with a person like that. They like, all right, we ain't got no dirt on this guy, so how can we really blackmail this guy? He's too squeaky clean for us. They're never gonna put a squeaky clean guy in position like that. There's always a person that they gonna put in place that they got dirt on that they can blackmail and control. So they got something on Trump. They got something directly on him. So yeah, just like Clinton. Like it's so bad that a lot of the scandals that came out with these people, like you know what I mean, like Trump with the Monica Lewinsky thing. I'm surprised that tell you the truth, probably look further into it.
You mean Bill? You mean Bill with Monica Lewinsky?
Bill, I mean with Monica Lewinsky. And tell you the truth, how we know Monica Lewinsky ain't linked to Epstein? Because he was in the White House 17 times, over 17 times. So how we know Monica Lewinsky wasn't sent in there by Epstein to basically get something on Clinton? We don't know that. But they do so much shit that you see some of the scandals come out. Um, you think the shit that we see at the surface, that's where it stops? Nah, it's a lot more darker, deeper shit these people be into. And there's people like Epstein in place to get them in compromising positions so they can be used, blackmailed, and be used to, carry out agendas. That's what Trump like. Y'all seen Trump talking that no more war, no more, I'm a peaceful I'm gonna be the peaceful president. I'm gonna be the most peaceful president in history, and no new wars and all that. As soon as he got in there, all that shit changed. They showed him the activities he was into. Like, listen, we got you here. Look at this file. Just go ahead, look through there. They sat Trump ass down in a dark room. They all sat around, sit there. Listen. This is what we got on you. Pulling out files after files on you, tapes, audios, video recordings, all that shit. Showed him himself back. Showed him, his own self. What he into? Like, listen, this is what we got on you. Listen, we need you to go into Iran. We basically need you to assist us to go into Iran. We need you to assist us to take over Turkey and Cuba and Norway and Ireland and Greenland. And We need to go in and get Venezuela, Maduro out of Venezuela and take the oil, and you know what I mean? So he playing ball, man. Let's continue though with the Epstein victim.
Always had a
clearing
thing for
yards. I
Iran
was
though.
not
Let's not
enrolled in
forget
college at the
that.
time.
Huh?
Always had a thing for Iran. Though. Let's
Yeah,
not
they always
forget
had a
that.
thing. Yeah,
You
they
remember
always had a
Trump?
thing for
Remember
it.
Trump was talking about taking out Iran in the early 90s.
Right. That's true. Talking about take the oil.
Yep.
Yep.
And she called the secretary to make an appointment. And we were there within a few days in New York.
You walk in and you're in his residence in New York. What setting do you first see him in? Is he sitting at his desk? Is he in his living room?
No, it's very formal. He had a full-time butler and full-time, household staff and a private chef, which I found out about it. The private chef I didn't meet right away. So you ring the doorbell. It's a buzzer, and somebody asks, "Who is it?" You state your name, and I'm here to see, Mr. Epstein or Jeffrey. We never called him Mr. Epstein. Actually, I think all the girls just called him Jeffrey. He will open the door, but not all the way. It would always just kind of creep a little bit open, like not even halfway through. It's kind of weird. And now the more I think about it, the creepier it seems. It was very dimly lit. It wasn't a foyer that was very bright. There were no visible windows. And once you walk in, the butler, whose name I never heard, he never introduced himself as nothing. Like he barely spoke to me at all during the 2 years that I went over to that house.
They ain't
Always
time to speak. That's
gestured,
why.
like he was very formal. He would go like this and say, "Please, step into like this room," and it was on the left-hand side, and wait there until Mr. Epstein is ready to see you. And then he would leave and come back within a few minutes, and then just peer in and say, "Hello, Mr. Epstein is ready to see you." And I always had to follow him up the stairs. It was very formal. Like I was never just he didn't just open the door and say like, hi, so and so, like, "Hi, Rena." He didn't know my name either. Or maybe he did know, but he never called me by my name. I didn't have the freedom to just walk around the house. He would.
I mean, of course you don't. I mean, you know how many things he probably got. I mean, that Manhattan mansion that he had was like 20 something bedrooms in there. I think he had like 20 something bedrooms. A lot of bathrooms in there. So I mean, he probably had some freaky deaky shit going on in some of them rooms. Yeah, you can't just walk around freely in there. Hell no. And you might walk into some shit that you ain't supposed to be seeing. You know what I'm saying?
Way worse than some shit you would probably see at Diddy's house.
Right.
Way
Yeah, right.
worse. Way worse
Right.
than some shit you would see at Diddy's house.
And that's another thing. Them distracting us with Diddy was crazy.
Right.
They ain't have shit on Diddy. All they had him on is flying sex workers in. That was it. That's the only thing he got charged with was flying sex workers in. And who don't fly chicks out and dudes out and shit like that? Just think about all the celebrities. They always flying some woman out to have sex and give them money. That ain't nothing new. It shouldn't even be a crime to fly people in to have sex with. That's adult shit. Why do we need the government supervising that? That's adult shit. As long as it ain't no children involved or people being held against their will, people should be freely to go have sex for money wherever they want to have sex for money. You know what I'm saying? So, but in the Epstein files, it looked like some torture shit going on, some human sacrificing going on, some human beef jerky and cheese pizza and grape soda and all these weird shit going on in them Epstein files. Criminal activity, inside trading, them funding stage events. Bill Gates and there was emails in there with Bill Gates and Epstein actually discussing about the COVID-19 shit and how they was going to plan that, how that they was planning that out and all that. Like that, all that shit was in the files and nothing happened. Nothing. Like it's crazy. It's crazy how this
always
shit is crazy.
escort me up the stairs. And so on the first day, Lisa and I followed him after waiting in the sitting room, up the stairs and into the study, which is more of a office-like setting. I just call it the study. It's not the formal living room. A lot of people confuse that room as the living room, but it's not.
So you go in there and he's sitting in his study. And how does he greet you? Is there anything that kind of took you by surprise? Was he charismatic?
He was very charismatic. He was a very outgoing, well-spoken person, very friendly. I think he gave Lisa a kiss on the cheek. I don't think he gave me a kiss on the cheek because we had just met, and I don't recall if I shook his hand. I may have. Like, this is 2 decades ago, so those little details I would have to, sit on it and think hard. And he was like, hey, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Like to Lisa, like, what are you up to? Like, he had a lot of questions for her, and then he turned his attention onto me, and I was like, what's your name? And I said, my name is Rena. What do you do? Like, what's that? I brought my portfolio with me, so he pointed at it and said, what did you bring? And I said, I'm an artist. He's like, oh, you're an artist. He's like, and what is that?
So
I was like,
basically,
I brought,
hold on.
pictures of my.
So basically, Lisa recruited her and brought her up there. So Lisa, you can't let Lisa off that easy. Even though Lisa was a victim, but Lisa, you bringing women up there to Jeffrey Epstein, and that's the lady that was talking at the press conference. One of the victims. Yeah. So hold on though. We can't just skate by that real quick. Lisa brought this woman up there to Epstein. She already knew who Epstein was. You see what I'm saying? She already knew who Epstein was. The Lisa lady already knew Epstein previous to bringing her up there. So let's continue. Just want to throw that out there real quick. Let's
My
continue.
artwork. It's a portfolio. He's like, can I see? So then I handed it to him, and he spent a decent amount of time looking through every single page in this portfolio. And he particularly liked the sculptures. Now, like, going back to the type of training I received as a sculptor, I studied sculpture in a cathedral in New York City. And I have a tendency to absorb the environment because I was studying sculpture at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. My work was very biblical and very holy at the time. And he was very much drawn to those sculptures, and more specifically, the one of the mother and child and all these angelic figures celebrating the birth of a son. Just the mother. It's not the Virgin Mary, because like I hate using like ideology. I just call it adoration of the mother and child. But he particularly liked that piece. And there's a reason why later on he asked me to have his baby.
Really? It seems like there is a huge.
Hold on. Hold on. She said Epstein asked her to have his baby. Hold on. Epstein don't even have any kids neither, do he? I think he reported that he didn't have any kids. I don't remember. I don't remember that. I don't think so. Matter of fact, let me just look that up real quick. I don't even remember. And if he do got kids, it's probably not known. They not known. It's never been publicly or officially confirmed that Epstein had any children. Nope. Says as none are mentioned in his will. 2026 court document released. 2011 emails from Sarah Ferguson suggesting he may have had a secret child. That's what I'm saying. He might have secret children. Anyway, remember they were saying that the Island Boys was Epstein's kids on the low.
Island Boys.
Yeah, they said the Island
named-
Boys. Yeah, and they named the Island Boys.
Yeah, I remember that rumor going around. But they created that though. I think they tried to say it was later on down the line. They said it wasn't real.
Yeah, it wasn't real. Yeah.
But shit, it could have just
Nah,
been
but
told to shut up.
the thing is, they didn't. They said they wasn't. But then they tried to spin the block and said that they was. They was trying to cloud chase off that shit. The people saying that. At first, they didn't admit to it because you know they ain't want that stipulation on them. Basically, oh, you Epstein children, they gonna start targeting. So they kind of got scared that people were saying that. But then they start, you know, they spent the block and start playing into it because they ain't have shit else. They ain't had no other content to go off of. So they try to basically
Yeah.
clout chase off that. They try to clout chase off that. Yeah.
It's a wild world we living in, fam. That's the same thing with Palm Beach Pete getting love for
Right.
looking like Epstein. They sitting
Yeah.
there
That,
taking pictures of
right.
him, women going up to him, hugging them, and flirting with him because they think because he look exactly like Epstein. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Right. The Palm
That's
Beach Pete.
crazy to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
They
Palm
out
Beach
there. He's a
Pete.
celebrity. Palm Beach Pete is a celebrity now.
Just for looking like
He
Epstein.
got women throwing themselves at him and dudes respecting him and wanting to take a picture with him. That's crazy to me because he looked like Epstein. Like
Right.
this goes to show you like the degenerate. Like America is degenerate, bro. Like America is degenerate to the fact that we allow something like this to even take place.
Right.
And like I'm gonna say this, man. I honestly think that Palm Beach Pete character is Epstein. I'm gonna be
Epstein.
real. I think it is.
Or it could have been a feeling for Epstein, like, but still that part of that thing, but was like like an Epstein double, because you know all these people be having like, you know, doubles and all that, like, when they traveling
Right.
and shit like that, they always. So
Right.
I'm thinking
Which means
even,
he's just as guilty.
yeah, right. I'm thinking even because they interviewed Palm Beach Pete, and he said, I was at parties with Epstein. I
Yeah.
was also in New York when Epstein was operating. I was in New York, living in that area where Epstein had his, his mansion and all that was at.
And in Florida. Don't forget
Yeah, in
about
Florida.
Florida.
Yeah, yeah, that's the point. Yeah. So he was living in Florida during the time Epstein was operating, and he was living in New York at the same time Epstein was operating. So I'm thinking like, all right, so was you one of them Epstein body doubles? Or is that just Epstein with surgery? With slight surgery?
Bro, he ain't even got no surgery, bro. That's Epstein. Like, nigga, that's the side by side. That's him, bro. It ain't no more rap. It's him. Like,
Somebody said Epstein brother sound exactly like Palm Beach Pete. Yeah, or he could be related to Epstein.
bro, that's not even that's him,
You think
bro.
it's direct? You think
That's
it's
him.
directly Epstein?
That's straight Epstein, bro. They playing in our faces that
They're
much.
playing in our face. So they released
They playing in
Epstein
our
back out.
faces that much,
So
bro.
they basically put him back into the matrix and made him like a celebrity based off the fact
Facts.
of his previous life.
Right. And he's
It's
going
like
around parading like under a different name with the same
yeah,
body.
it's like the Matrix where what's his name that wanted to get put back into the Matrix, but he was like, make me like a movie star. What was his name in the Matrix? You know what I'm talking about. He was sitting down having the steak dinner
What's his
with
name?
was it
What was it?
Cypher.
Man, yeah, Cypher. Yep, Cypher.
Remember Cypher was sitting down having a steak dinner with the agent Smith to basically give up
Make me someone important.
yeah,
Like
to
a
give up
actor.
to give
Like
up
an actor
Morpheus and
or a
them. Yeah,
politician.
yeah, because they needed the keys to get into the Matrix, but they only could do it through Morpheus and them. So Cypher basically traded in Morpheus and them to get put back into the Matrix. Like he said, make me something more important, like a movie star or something like that. Something like that. He said,
Yeah,
and
a movie star or a politician.
politician or something like
And,
that.
and the
Right.
thing, and the thing is, his name is Cypher, and that's what they do. They cipher the energy out of you.
Right.
They just get
So
all the goddamn energy out of you as a politician or a movie actor because
right.
they part of the Matrix.
Right. Yeah, and Palm Beach Pete got that same stuttering problem like Epstein got. They trip over the same word, like the same letter. Whatever word pronunciation, they tripped over that same word pronunciation, whatever. I was like, oh, so they mashed it up. And then he got the same bottom row teeth like Epstein had. Same bottom row teeth, bro. Now they got Palm Beach Pete flying all over the world in private jets and shit like that. Like they really made this guy famous off the Epstein shit, bro. That means they they really playing in the public face like that. Like how can someone even get famous just for looking like a freaking murdering sex predator, pedophile, sex trafficker, murderer? I have to use murder twice. And this Palm Beach Pete guy is getting love. Like people want to take pictures with him. They running up to him like, "Hey, it's Epstein!" Taking pictures with him and grabbing on him and like he's really a celebrity overnight off of Epstein.
That's
That is,
disgusting.
bro. That just shows you where we at as a society.
It's
Then
sickening.
maybe that's why nothing gonna happen because look how we are as a society. They let Epstein get back into the public as another famous character. That is sick, bro. You got content creators doing content off Jeffrey Epstein, basically like using his image and all that. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. This is crazy. So yeah, that's probably why nothing gonna happen to those in the Epstein files because they making it they basically mocking it and making it a joke. They kind of lightening it up now by using these Palm Beach Pete characters and all that.
Huge contrast between when you're
Crazy.
walking into a study and
Make
you're
sure y'all
first
double
meeting
tap the
him,
screen to
he
like
takes
this
an
video.
interest in your art, and then down the line, you enter this period where he's asking you to have his baby. What happened in between those two events to where he was slowly coercing you into doing things that you perhaps didn't want to?
He pushed my boundaries every time I saw him. He gave me books to read, and he immediately began brainwashing me, and he knew with me, the whole like massage thing, like give me a massage for $200 thing, would not have worked. I would have walked out of there. He used a different method to manipulate me. He knew that wouldn't have worked on me, so he used art, but I still ended up in that room. And things still happened to me against my will in that room. And there were a lot of other people who I just at this point call them co-conspirators who abused me along with him. He wasn't the only one in that room. Like a lot of strangers would just show up. I don't want to go into the details because I'll disassociate and I want to stay in the present. So I don't like talking about the details. By giving me books to read, he indoctrined his ideology, and his ideology was a polygamous empire that he told me he was planning on building. Like it's, in the beginning, I read the books. I thought it was just an idea. I was studying history books. He kept talking about it, and most of our conversations revolved around this harem. And I know, like in other countries, they call it the harem, but here in America, he called it harem. That's why I pronounce it that way. He told me I was going to be a favorite, and I was going to be part of Babylon. So now going back to the religious artwork that I made, and him telling me I was going to be a part of Babylon. At that age, I had no idea that Babylon is the most grotesque, disgusting, unholy place that is mentioned in scripture in the Bible, in the Old Testament and the New Testament. I sincerely believe that this is what Jeffrey Epstein was truly doing here on this planet. He was building or rebuilding Babylon. He was bringing back hell on earth. Because if you read the
I don't think we need Epstein for that. I think that's already here. Like that system is already here. It never went anywhere. So Epstein wasn't here to rebuild Babylon. Babylon never went anywhere. Those systems never went anywhere. Those systems are still operating today. Haven't went anywhere.
Damn sure is.
It don't matter
It's just
what
that we in
civilization.
denial.
Yeah, yeah. It don't matter what civilization came along. They all are still here. Whether you want to go to the Roman Empire or the Babylon or Assyrians or
Yeah, we in denial. We in
yeah, all
denial.
these systems still exist today. Though nothing new is under the sun. You understand that? Nothing new is under the sun.
And the problem is we in denial about it all.
Yeah,
That's
that's what it is.
it's the we choosing
Naive.
ignorance. We naive and now we choosing ignorance collectively. Because collectively, deep in our hearts, we know that this shit is really corrupt. And the thing is, a lot of us are just hiding. We're just hiding. That's it. We just hiding. Some of us are more vocal about it, and we actually taking action. But then it's too many of us now to where we hiding. We got to stop this shit. We got to come out and just admit these Babylons and these evil, wicked Roman empires. Yeah, they didn't go nowhere. They still here and operate. And a lot of people that we've been giving praise to and idolizing, they're part of the problem. Just think about how people idolize these politicians and all of them, and they was working with Epstein all these years. And look
Yeah,
how and they still it's still being Epstein's being idolized.
yeah.
Epstein's being idolized. So it's just like I guess we're gonna get exactly what we deserve at this point. If society is like that. I mean, like what else is there to it?
It's true.
Bible, the children of God, they're looking to build heaven on earth, a peaceful place. And he was looking to build the opposite of that. And he told me I was going to be a part of it. And then as he handed me the books from that day going forward, he constantly talked about me having this baby with the Sultan. And he was the Sultan, obviously, in this Babylon world that he built for himself.
Just hearing, your firsthand account of how you were coerced into doing those things is absolutely sickening, and I'm so sorry. But I want to commend you for being able to sit here today and talk to me about it. So it's very brave of you, and thank you so much. And I'm sure you've heard this from other people, but your testimony is going to help girls, whether they were, connected with Epstein or not, to speak out about their own abuse and the situations that they were in. So again, it's very commendable. It's very brave of you. It sounds like he had a very egocentric way of manipulating the people around him to do his bidding. What was the turning point to where you had realized, you are building this relationship with him, starting out where you believe he's an art patron and he takes interests in your interests, and it makes you feel a certain way. But then there's a turning point, right, where you realize this actually isn't what I thought it was going to be. What was that turning point? And again, if this turning point is something you don't want to talk about, I'm not going to press the issue and we can move on.
Well, he said I never had to see him again. During the second meeting with him is when he offered the scholarship. Nothing happened that day. He didn't touch me. It seemed like a legitimate meeting. Although I had to watch him get a full body massage in the massage room. But it was a normal massage. He didn't engage in anything with that female massage therapist. She actually was a certified professional massage therapist. And everything seemed kind of kosher, like normal. I accepted the offer, told me, please follow up with my secretary, go to School of Visual Arts, select 2 classes. He dictated exactly where I was going to go to school. He didn't ask me, Rena, what school would you like to go to? Like, if you could, pick an art school, the school of your dreams, what would it be? I would have probably answered Parsons School of Design because I always wanted to study fashion design, but that's not what happened. He just told me, I think you should be in school. I think you're really talented, and I am offering you a full scholarship to go to the School of Visual Arts because that's where I think you should go to school. And if you want to be successful in the art world, you need to have a college degree. So, then I went to the school. He dictated, go down to the school, pick up a catalog, pick out 2 summer classes, and then follow up with the secretary. And then, she will make all the arrangements. So there was payment that was made for the classes, but I never saw the transaction. It probably was made and, sent directly probably by check from his office to the School of Visual Arts. At that time, I had no idea how involved Jeffrey Epstein was with the art world. As I'm going through the files, but I always kind of knew, but now we have the evidence that he was controlling the art market too. Like he didn't just have his hands on politicians and royalty, billionaires, and then all the girls he victimized. He was also involved heavily in the art world. And I could go on and on about that, in another interview because it's so.
We know that because he had that painting of Bill Clinton in that blue dress. That famous painting of him that came out in the files. That Clinton had sitting in the chair with his legs open, legs across the chair, with a blue dress on.
Definitely put Monica Lewinsky up to that. That's why that was a trophy. That was a personal. That was a personal trophy of Epstein by having that picture of Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky's dress that got the the semen stains on it from when she gave Clinton some head in the Oval Office.
Right.
I mean, and Epstein got a picture of that, and then he was in the Oval Office over 17 times.
Right.
When Bill Clinton was president. I'm talking about Epstein. Epstein was up there. So Epstein had his hoes up there.
Yeah. I'm thinking Clinton really put that blue dress on for him to get painted. That Clinton up there put the dress on. Clinton up there, he put the dress on.
The connections are there. They doing it right in front of our faces.
Right in front of our faces, right. He had the Monica Lewinsky dress on. And Epstein had the painting, right, with him with the dress on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely coded right there.
Yeah,
Telling us right there. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Damn. Y'all see? Connect them dots, man. Because they doing it right in front of our faces. It ain't like they really hiding and doing like this shit is like the language that they speak is right in front of our faces. It's whether you catch on to it or not, whether you can discern it, whether you can connect the dots. But yeah. Let's continue.
In depth, and I always had a sense of that. So after I no longer saw him, I disassociated from practicing and pursuing, my visual arts practice. He said he was this philanthropist, and after on day 2, he said, "You never have to see me again." But then I felt this obligation. He kept calling. The secretary kept calling to have me return to the house. And it escalated very quickly. It was abuse, nothing but abuse for 2 years. He never took me out of the house. I never went out to dinner with him, to any events with him in New York. When I was in Florida, I traveled there for about a week. I was taken out, but it wasn't a regular outing.
Why you keep going back? I don't understand. It's like, y'all going back and saying you welcome the abuse.
Because it was cool to do that at the time, because you gotta look at it from this perspective. Epstein was a multi-millionaire parading around like a billionaire. He had jets, he had islands. So
shit that was given to him.
Yeah, so that's gonna be like glamour and glitz to a young woman, and they're gonna stick around with that. Even on the strength of taking abuse from them. That's the crazy part behind this. And unfortunately, there's a lot of insecure young women out there that love that type.
Right.
They will accept the abuse because the person is wealthy and they got status and power. She's seen them around. That's why she kept going back. She's seen them around all these powerful people, got connections to the president, to the Oval Office. He got a fleet of private jets. He got a private island. That's what they into. Think about it.
Right. Right. All right, let's get into it.
We went out as a group. You know, it was Jeffrey, Ghislaine Maxwell, and then another girl who was staying at the house with me. We weren't giving access to transportation in Florida. He had a car, you know, he had a butler down there, to chauffeur butler, and Ghislaine had a car. But the other girl and I were just stuck in the house waiting until, you know, we had the privilege to leave the house for an hour. And when we did go out, we had to walk behind them like they were like above us, like in hierarchy. Like that's how we were treated. And the way he described the harem, this is exactly how he lived. And this is how he treated the girls. It was a great hierarchy. Ghislaine obviously ranked much higher than probably all the girls in this harem network. Secret world, because everything was to be kept a secret. And that is how harems were built throughout, you know, history. And Turkey is not the only country, just to, you know, set the record straight. I've given other interviews and people were commenting saying, you know, Turkey's not the only country that had harems. I'm like, yes, I'm very much aware of that. So this is what he was planning from the beginning. And he was planning on having multiple wives. And he asked me to become one of those wives and have a baby with him. And this is all based on that one sculpture he saw that first time I met him. He just saw a candidate to carry a baby.
It's so sickening because, you know, when you look at some of the things the DOJ has released, there are some emails in these files that suggest an interest of his was designer babies, human cloning, and things to that effect, which, you know, is just awful. It seems like he had this obsession with seeding the human race, and it kind of plays into the angle that he believed himself a king. He thought himself a king, and he thought himself as this emperor, like you say. And it almost sounds like what you're intimating is that, you know, it was satanic. You know, I don't think there's any other word for, you know, his kind of psychology or his belief system. It was just plain satanic. Would you say that's accurate?
I would say it's the opposite of what is good. If that's what that is, you know, he called it Babylon, and if you read the Bible, Babylon is the opposite of everything that is holy. So whatever it is that he was doing, it was nothing but blasphemy. So is that satanic? Probably, but there are other religions, other cults that also are the opposite of good, that, you know, where people engage in all these nefarious acts and it's evil, you know, it's blasphemy against the Lord. It doesn't necessarily have to be that religion. I just call everything that's not good. He was into worshiping evil and darkness. But he made it sound like it's a good thing. And I had no idea that Babylon was the opposite of the Holy Land, because he never talked about the actual Bible. He didn't talk about anything other than Babylon. So I was brainwashed into thinking this Babylon he was talking about was the harem. I associated Babylon with the harem.
Well, there's something to be said there, right? To be led down a path that's so intrinsically evil, and to come out on the other side of it.
But that's how I've changed after what I went through that experience. I was a lot more open and of receiving different people and not as judgmental. You know, I didn't see black and white. I accepted all the gray areas of morality. Post Jeffrey Epstein, I am able to have that spiritual discernment. I've turned into a lie detector basically, because he lied to me so much He was a raging, malignant narcissist, and it really is horrible when you go through narcissistic abuse. I don't know if you've ever gone through it. I don't want you to go through it, but a lot of people have suffered from narcissistic abuse. If they can't relate to the physical trauma, the sexual trauma that the victims and survivors have gone through, they could probably relate to narcissistic abuse. A lot of people have experienced this in their lifetime, young or old. And that's essentially what it was in a nutshell. But there's that spiritual element. He didn't just abuse the body. He didn't just colonize the brain. He also abused the spirit, the soul of these girls. And that's what he did to me. And that gave him ultimate pleasure. Wasn't the physical abuse. It was actually breaking the soul was his goal, was to break our souls. It is so evil and so grotesque. And most people don't.
Well, she basically just saying like Epstein was over there running the cult. He was running the cult, basically. That's what she's saying. He was running the cult. That's cult-like behavior to have, to recruit women and keep them, keep them in his his sanctuary or whatever, his island and his mansions in New York and stuff like that. Like, yeah, he basically had a cult going on there. But how she explaining it, I mean, am I right or am I wrong? The way she explaining is that sound more like a cult. Well, let's continue.
Know this, and they don't talk about it. They don't talk about that aspect of what he was doing, and not just with the girls. I think he was doing this with everyone around him. He was a mastermind manipulator.
It's just so sadistic hearing it, yeah, I struggle to find the words, to be honest, to react to hearing something like that.
It's scary, actually.
It is scary that people, I'll tell you this, it's scary that human beings like that can exist. If you can call him that.
He's still human. I don't know. They refer to the beast a lot in the Bible, and I would think he was closer to living his life through the image of the beast instead of the image of God. And God is love, and Jeffrey represents hate and sacrilegious, like shenanigans. Everything that he did was sacrilege, and he made him happy. Yeah. He actually fed off of the sacrilege. He loved evil things, and the more I got to know him, the more I saw the evil in his eyes. You could sort of when you meet someone that's really evil, just sense the darkness around them. And when I started seeing how excited he got, to hurt others, to hurt me, it just that is where the depth of the trauma lies in my body. And I do have it stored in a lot of different places, and I'm working with a lot of different providers, therapists who are helping me cope. We haven't gotten there yet, but there is an actual physical trauma your body stores. The severe trauma physically, mentally, physically, spiritually, and he did all of the above.
Again, it's awful to hear that, but it's encouraging to hear that you're receiving the right help, and mental health is obviously an enormous part of the process of recovery. I've been lucky enough to not have been put in a position like yours, so I just can't imagine the trauma. But again, it's encouraging to hear. You mentioned something earlier where you took a trip to Florida, and you were in the presence of Ghislaine Maxwell. Can you go into the type of person Ghislaine Maxwell was? How did she conduct her relationship with you and Epstein and the people around her? What was she like?
She was very full of herself. She's an absolute classist, would be the best way to describe her. She enjoyed her privilege of being of a higher and distinguished social class, where she spent her entire life growing up and being surrounded by privileged people of the higher social class, you know, the creme de la creme of the world, politicians, you know, wealth, trust fund, babies, what have you. And she made it very obvious to everyone around her, like, you are not an equal to me. So she was very like offstandish, snobby, not very friendly or approachable unless the girls worked for her directly. And now Virginia Giuffre was hired by Ghislaine Maxwell. She was an employee of Ghislaine Maxwell. And so was this other girl, Joanna. So I met Joanna in New York only once. But the way I saw the interaction with Ghislaine and the girls who followed her around, I can tell that they listened to her mainly, and I wasn't one of them. So I was excluded from this little clique that she had going on. And she wasn't a very approachable person, friendly person, unless you were one of her girls or one of her like good friends. Like you had to come, like she had to source the person, whether it's like a personal assistant or someone that she hired, like Virginia or Joanna. She hired her to, like, you know, answer phone calls, but that's not what she ended up doing. She ended up doing other things. Or she had her own townhouse eventually, and she probably had a chauffeur. Like, those are her people. If you're not one of her people, like, she just basically was very like offstandish, like, what are you doing here? And that's how she treated me.
Much like you did with Epstein, can you walk me through the first time you met Ghislaine Maxwell? And you said she was a classist. She seems like she was very full of herself. What interaction can you remember that you had with her that signified to you, oh, this person is a little bit too full of himself, maybe a little bit of a narcissist?
Well, narcissist I didn't get right away because I had not gone through the full-blown narcissistic abuse at that time. Like when I first met Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, it was after I left that I started reading about it, because it really bewildered me why I felt the way I did. And for years, I probably studied narcissistic personality disorder for about a decade, still trying to understand. And now I see the narcissists everywhere I go, right? She just came off as someone that was insincere, not genuine, but she had known who I was. She introduced herself to me when I was waiting in that sitting room one day. And I thought she was just a friend that was visiting, that was very comfortable around, you know, that house in New York, the townhouse, because she was free to come and go whenever she wanted. I didn't see the butler escorting her out the front door. Now, he also escorted all the guests out the front door. He didn't just bring the guests in, make you sit in the waiting room, take you upstairs. He also took us outside, like took the girls or took me like to the door. I was like, literally, you were not allowed to just roam around the house. She was roaming around the house. And when I was,
Well, she roamed around the house. That means she had, you know, she knew the whole operation and everything that was going on. She was freely to roam around the house freely. That means he trusted her enough not to, you know, say, you know, mention anything she's seen. You know, so that's like Captain Obvious right there. So, saying, so you mean to tell me the whole time this chick was around, she wasn't allowed to roam freely throughout the house? Like, damn. Like, what was you there for, man? What was you there for?
That is
Yeah,
being around powerful people.
just to be around powerful people,
Just to
right?
be around powerful people with money.
Right.
Young and dumb and naive.
Facts. Right. Right.
the sitting room, she, you know, popped her head in and said, hi, you know, like, who are you? And I answered, "Hi, my name is Rena." She's like, "Oh, you're Rena. You're all Jeffrey ever talks about." And like she squealed, but I could tell it wasn't like a sincere hello. And she was annoyed with me. She was like, "Oh, you're all he ever talks about. Like what are you doing here?" It felt immediately like she didn't like me, and she didn't like me before I even met her.
Was there ever a turning point? Obviously, you know, you didn't really grasp the full foundation of what makes a narcissist until you got out of that environment. But was there ever a time? Is there a time that you remember during where you went, "Oh, I don't like this person. Oh, she gives me very bad vibes." Did she ever snap at you or anything like that?
She showed me her closet of like disgusting like things that she probably used to hurt, like physically hurt the girls in Florida. And she showed it to me with like while grinning, almost like she wanted to do something to me. I was told by Jeffrey Epstein, "Ghislaine is waiting for you upstairs in the bedroom and she wants to show you something." I was just like, oh my God, like, why are you sending me upstairs? Like, I thought she was going to abuse me, you know, like essay me. And I went up the stairs and he took me upstairs. I thought something was going to happen between like her and him and me, and I would get victimized again because this wouldn't be the first time. But instead, like, she just said, "Rena, come over here." And she, you know, opened the closet and said, "I have something to show you." And the whole closet was filled with like all these things that are now showing up in the pictures in in the files. I suspect that she was physically assaulting, physically abusing, you know, victims. I can't say who they are because I didn't witness it, but that stuff was there and it belonged to her. That was her closet because Jeffrey said she has something to show you in her closet. He didn't say that's my closet. He said Ghislaine has something to show you in her closet.
And you know, Rena, I don't I want to be gentle in approaching the subject because again, I don't want to, you know, step over a boundary of, you know, boundaries that you've set regarding things you don't want to talk about. Would you be open to discussing exactly what you saw in the closet?
Probably not, because I may start disassociating a little bit.
Absolutely. It's absolutely fine.
Well, then, so it's like the mystery of Pulp Fiction suitcase. Then, like, what the hell was in the closet, man? What y'all think was in them damn closet in the closet? Trap doors.
Secret doors to get you up to get to the dungeons.
Yeah, but she says she's seen something basically like disgusting. Like, you think it was probably like torture weapons, like spikes and whips and things to basically torture the women. You heard?
It could be anything. Like, yup, it could definitely be all of that, all of the above. You gotta think about it. The people he was dealing with, these people are like extremely wealthy, like, and they've been around for years. The people that Epstein worked for, and they're bored.
Right.
They bored. You gotta think about it. They create movies like in series like the Squid Games based around these types of individuals. That's exactly, spoiler alert, but that's exactly what the old guy said in Squid Games of why he put those Squid Games together, because him and his friend were bored. He said, "We've been there, we traveled everywhere, we've experienced everything. We just wanted to do something, you know, to basically feel again." These people was born with money, generationally wealthy, and they bored and they wicked, and you know, and they create these types of environments, and they sort of live above the law because they control everything.
Right.
Because money rules the world.
Facts.
Control the flow of money.
Yep.
Have a tendency to see images, memories are stored. It's like a motion picture. And for me, like, I'll start having flashbacks of other things related to that time period. So I just don't want to, there's something talking about.
Don't even worry about it. We don't need to approach it at all. But thank you for mentioning it. You give a very compelling testimony, Rena.
To say, but I am writing about it in the story that I'm working on right now. I'm almost finished writing my book. It will really help people understand this evil man because, you know, like most people, like I said before, they don't realize that he was truly evil. This was spiritual abuse more than anything else. And I know he wanted to seed the planet. There are all these things that he was doing, but why does it not make sense? But when you add the spiritual aspect and his ideologies, which, you know, it could have been a religion, then all of it comes together and makes sense. This was truly evil, what he was doing.
Well, it was a cult. That's what it was. He was running a cult over there with all the women in the house, and you know, Ghislaine being like the madam and shit. Yeah, they had their own little cult thing going on over there at in the Epstein mansion or Epstein Island or Palm Beach or whatever the hell he was at, wherever the one of the locations he was at. And he invite the politicians down, celebrities. They all was invited to get some. And now that it's over, well, I can't say it's over. As long you know, there's always more Epstein's and more islands and more people out here that's operating like that. But the Epstein's part of it is over, and the files been released. Now we know all the files haven't been released, but what was released and the shit we seen is still enough to launch an investigation against, you know, some of these individuals. Just ain't happening. Ain't doing shit about it.
Hmm. You mentioned previously that you had the opportunity to interact with Virginia Giuffre. What was she like, and what was the relationship between her and Epstein like? Do you ever remember her saying something that gives you pause today that mightn't have back then?
I thought she was working for Ghislaine Maxwell, you know, or that she was like a family friend, like she could be the daughter of like Ghislaine's friend, but she was clearly like around Ghislaine more. You know, that's how I saw her role. I didn't think anything was happening between her and Jeffrey Epstein, but I know she was at the house for Ghislaine Maxwell. When I was in Florida, she was at the house every day. Although when I did see her leaving the house with another girl, her and her friend were picked up by her ex-boyfriend at the time, whom I also met. I did start thinking like, you know, like, is she one of the girls? Like, she's bringing girls to the house, and, you know, what is she doing here? She's here every day. But I didn't see her like let's say like in a room or anything like that. And when she did come into the house, I don't recall like her and Jeffrey being alone. Like, you know, I saw her like by the pool. You know, there's a pool and a cabana and behind the house in Palm Beach. I was sitting there with a group of women. Ghislaine was there too, and she strolled in and waved hi to everyone, blew a kiss at Jeffrey Epstein, and then he still sat there. So I had no clue even then what was going on with her. She did at one time tell me that Ghislaine and Jeffrey asked her to have a baby for them. So if I can name anyone who actually wanted to carry his child, would be Ghislaine Maxwell was the only person that actually wanted to have his baby. I don't know if he asked anyone else to have a baby with him, but she, I think, desperately wanted one. And at that time, she was close to 40 years old. I think maybe her eggs were going bad, or maybe she did.
40 years old, yeah, she ain't trying to have no. Like, I don't know, that's kind of borderline right there. You got some women that have children in their 40s, but kind of pushing it there. But I mean, I guess if you in the eggs or whatever, I guess, yeah. But yeah, Epstein was doing all that sexing and he ain't had no children, ain't produced no children. Well, that we know of. That we know of. Like we say, he got some secret children going on out here. Because who really gonna come forward and say, yeah, I had a child with Epstein, so they're not gonna really want to do that because it's like, just because of the reputation of that man, and they ain't gonna want to be attached to that. So if you do got kids out here, they probably never gonna, unless they decide to grow up and then, or they might not never know. Whoever he had a child with, you probably can keep that shit a secret. Like, who wants to admit they had a child with Jeffrey Epstein? Like, shit, hell no. Hell no. Yeah, yes.
Didn't want to carry a baby and they were looking for a surrogate. I have no idea, but she was a very entitled person, someone who most likely would have never even changed a diaper type of person. She probably would have had like 3 nannies or nannies around the clock that rotated. And I do see some women who rather pay a surrogate $100,000 so that they don't get stretch marks, and she's that type of person. Like, that's really entitled. That's entitlement right there. It's like, I'm not even carrying my own child, but I want this baby so that I can, I don't know, like, own everything. Yeah, but.
Rena, your testimony has been absolutely fantastic. Again, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, make sure y'all double tap the screen, like this video, man. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure y'all subscribe to 90 Day Network LLC. Also, make sure you check out our website, 90dayherbals.com. We got a 30% sale going off on our website right now. We sell natural herbal products like natural soaps, body oils, CBD cigarettes, CBD pre-rolls, vapes, hair care, and skincare products as well. So make sure y'all check us out at 90dayherbals.com, or you can simply just Google us in your Google browser by typing in 90 Day Network LLC. You'll see that we 5 stars on Google. You will also see all our social medias pop up as well. So you can follow us on all platforms, 90 Day Network on all platforms. And yeah, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in to this live stream. Definitely appreciate it. And on that note, we're gonna get up out of here. Catch y'all on the next one. Anything else you got for them, bro?
Nope, we up out of here.
Oh. And on that note, we up out of here. Peace.
I'm not even gonna lie. The joint pain I deal with every day, it slowed me all the way down. But ever since I started using this right here, Night and Day Pain Relief Balm, everything changed. And within minutes, I feel the difference. Like real relief. Now I can clean my whole house without even thinking about the pain. As a nurse, I'm on my feet all day. And this right here helps me get through my entire shift. I can actually enjoy time with my kids now. Go outside, be active, without hurting the whole time. It feels good to just live again. Honestly, if it wasn't for Night and Day Pain Relief Balm, I don't think I'd have the quality of life I have right now.
As comfort slows you down, reach for natural relief. Night and Day Hemp's extra strength CBD pain relief balm melts into aching muscles, delivering warmth you can feel. Soothe your body naturally. Feel free to move again. Night and Day Hemp balm melts away tension so you can enjoy every moment. Feel the difference fast. Real relief, real results. Order now at Night and Day Herbals.